everyone. I am here with another Soul Connections video for you. I was not expecting to record a video today. It's probably one of the last things that I had on my mind when I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I had a pretty crazy day at work, but I just had this nagging sensation all day that I really just was feeling really called to go ahead and get this video out. The new moon is not for another week, but as many of you know, the our nemesis Mercury retrograde ends tomorrow. So Mercury is about to go direct. We're about to enter Sagittarius season. This new moon is in Sagittarius that's coming up, and then I think there's something happening. I think I saw today. I don't know much about astrology, but there is something happening with Jupiter around this time too, and I believe Jupiter is the ruling planet for Sagittarius. I am a Sagittarius as my sun sign, and it's an energy that I've really started to identify with more and tap into lately. Fire is about obviously passion, but creativity, independence, travel, just really stepping out of your comfort zone. And I think, I don't know where this is coming from. I guess this is just something I'm getting, is that there's going to be maybe some energy coming in with this new moon and Mercury going direct that's going to maybe force some of us to get out of our comfort zone and to maybe try new things. And if you guys follow me or know me personally, you know that I just got certified to teach twerk, which is my favorite dance. I just love to dance, and it's my favorite workout. It's my favorite thing that I love to do. But as much as I feel confident in the moves, it's one thing to do that in the back of the room, but then to actually, be in the front of the room, to actually lead a class, I'm still not there yet, but I did get certified and had to do some of that in my training. And I actually this morning for the first time stood in the front row. I mean, there weren't a lot of people there, but I'm going to start standing in the front row now instead of the back and just working up my confidence. So I think there's sort of this urgency after we're closing out these old patterns and cycles in Scorpio season to, I think we're going to be challenged to maybe step into our power and take on some challenges and things that we're definitely capable of doing, and maybe it's things that we've wanted to do but we just didn't feel confident enough to do it. And so I think that this is going to be kind of forcing us to do that. We're going to see what comes out though. But again, I wasn't expecting to do this reading today. I have all these decks that want to be here. I have this new Organite that I got at Cocapelli. It's got some, I'm not exactly sure what is in it. I'm thinking it's probably rose quartz, and some gold dust. I was extremely drawn to this, and it just wanted to be here. It's absolutely beautiful. And you guys know that for a lot of these readings, I light candles. I had started a practice for a while of lighting, one for masculine, one for feminine, and one for the God energy, for the Holy Trinity. And I was lighting one that was pink, one that was red, and one that was white. And tonight, I felt called to just light two, and they're both white. And I think that is, I mean, we're going to see what comes out in the reading, but I just know from my own experiences, especially this past moon cycle, the past couple of weeks, I'm just really identifying with both energies. And, we've talked about, we all have masculine and feminine in both of us, right? Everybody does. Everybody has it, no matter what gender you are. There are masculine aspects, there are feminine aspects. But I feel like, and I don't really have a lot of time to watch other readers anymore, but I do it occasionally. And the few that I have lately, it's like they'll talk about the masculine, and I'm like, yep, that's more some of the things I'm going through, closing out cycles and trying to declutter and just cut toxic ties and, habits and patterns and things like that, and focus more on myself. And then they'll talk about the feminine, and they'll talk about the feminines, kind of being independent and being okay on their own, being happy with their life, and all these other things. And it's like, well, I identify with that too. And I've just really noticed as well, ever since Mercury went into retrograde, and I kind of went through this entire transformation within myself and realizing the things that I needed to change, right? Here I was kind of realizing that I still had work to do, right? I mean, if you're on the twin flame path and you're not in union in as far as, you know, in a physical relationship with your divine counterpart or with someone else in a 5D conscious relationship. There, that means that, you know, you're being mirrored and there are things you need to do. But I really wasn't wanting to face some of the things that I needed to change within myself. And as I started to make those changes in my own life, I really started noticing the parallels between myself and him. And it's just like, oh my gosh, here I was thinking he's doing XYZ and he's doing this, and not in a negative way, but it was kind of like, wow, you know, he's got to work on this and changing this pattern or whatever he's doing. It's like all this time I was thinking I was kind of more of a, well, I have control of the situation, or I know what, I'm okay, you know, because I'm fulfilling my mission and I'm doing this. No, there were definitely drastic changes that I needed to make within myself. And I realized through that process how much he and I are mirroring each other, and how much some of the situations we have going on in our lives, with interpersonal relationships and work and things like that, really are very similar. Even though on the surface they might seem like we live in different worlds, we don't. We have very, very similar things going on. So anyway, not trying to rant here, but I just I feel like there could be just some major, I feel like something big's about to happen, and I don't know. I just have this kind of urgency for me to do this early. You guys know I kind of procrastinate sometimes on doing these. So we're going to start with the feminine energy. I'm going to use the Shadowscapes Tarot. Excuse me. My brain is, after my day job, my brain is kind of, I don't know, we're going to see what comes out. And I've got a selenite tower here that's providing this beautiful light because it's pitch black out, even though I think it's like 6:30. It seems like it's, whoa, that wanted to come out. So we're going to take that. Oh, well. I'm not surprised to see that card. I'm going to see what else comes out. We'll get some clarifiers. I was hoping that would be in reverse, but all right. Let's see what we got. This is for the feminine. Okay, that's interesting. Actually, this entire deck is in reverse. I think. No, it's not. So we're going to try this. I normally don't read reversals, but I'm going to see what's happening with this. Okay, because yeah, that one was, okay. That's what happened. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. Forgive me, guys. This is, oh, wow. You guys, you cannot make this shit up. You can't. All right. Got a lot of reversals going on. Some that are reversed and some that aren't. That's just so bizarre. Because I had this deck upright. I thought, yeah, because when I put that on the bottom, that one's upright. All right, so I just said my brain was fried, and now the universe spirit throws me a bunch of reversals. That's cute. All right, let's see what we have here. So the one that came out upright was the devil, and I said that was interesting because that the devil is about ego. It's about, I'm getting this as what I was just saying kind of about myself. And I think that's why all these reversals are here, actually. I think there's a realization with a lot of feminines about things being reflected back at them. You know, a lot of these readings, it's like the masculines are, my ear just popped when I said that. That's so weird. It's like I cleared out like something, like was like, yeah, that's exactly it. You know, a lot of this was, oh, you know, the masculines, they're awakening and they're getting into their confidence, and they're, you know, the seeds have been planted, and, you know, your happily ever after is coming, and your stability. And let's see what else we got here. What's this one? The divine partnership, right? All of these things. So I think what sort of happened, at least in my situation, and I know I'm not completely unique here. You know, I'm part of a collective, and hopefully this is resonating with you. But for me, it's been, the tables sort of have been turned, and I've really been examining my own patterns, my own behaviors, the ways that I was embodying the masculine energy, right? You know, I always made jokes previously about being, the more masculine, as far as sexual energy and, maybe my career and some of the things that, I take charge and like do things that way. But I've really had these realizations lately that I was also running because I wasn't facing myself, the mirror that was being reflected back to me from my masculine, as far as, why he's hot and cold and why he's kind of staying stuck in certain, I mean, definitely a major, major, major growth in him, don't get me wrong, as there has been in myself. But there's this point where it's reached this like level where it's like you want to try to come back together and at least spend time together, or kind of rekindle, whatever, a friendship, or just have fun together. And then you're kind of like at this, like, oh, you're kind of not, it's like some of those same old patterns, the hot and cold and the ghosting. And, when this was happening, I truly deep down I just knew it wasn't time, but I still wasn't facing myself. And so I think that's why all these things are in reverse, because it's kind of like these past, it's everything's sort of been real, recognizing the feminines have to do their own work, and they have these things, that they need to focus on healing, but it's really, really in depth looking at how you thought, you thought as the feminine that your heart was completely open. Okay. Queen of Cups is in reverse though. It's not upright. So I think there's this realization that, she's got like her head turned kind of to the side, and she's kind of floating kind of away from reality. And it's kind of like in her head, she's got this fairy tale of thinking, well, yeah, like if he were to just knock on my door, it would all work out because I love him, and because, this is what it is, and this is the only person, that I could see myself. No, I want to say, the only person, but, the one that has my soul. And there's kind of this illusion that, yeah, my heart's been open this whole time. No, it's not. Because if you're numbing your emotions with alcohol, if you're working all the time, making excuses that you're always busy and you're too busy to sit down and do the shadow work, if you're just constantly going out all the time, go, 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 and you're not just sitting down and facing everything because you're always making excuses, right? You are embodying that runner energy too. You aren't doing the work. Your heart has to be completely open. It has to be clear. Your body has to be clear of substances, of darkness. Your soul has to be pure. We're human. We're never going to be completely pure. But, there's, I think, this realization that all these things that were out are coming back. And it's like, oh shit, all this isn't, I've got to look at myself and figure out, where have I been the runner? Where have I been the one that's not been open to this connection? Where have I been the one that's been afraid and not felt worthy? And I've, had all of these experiences. Where have I been the one that, is not feeling stable, or maybe having maybe spending too much money, or not taking, not having a true home, even though I, can afford my home and all of that, not making it a home, right? Because it's just that, stuff's thrown everywhere. I don't have time to deal with it. It's not, this environment that's clear. So anyway, not to digress, but the most beautiful thing, when I said you can't make this shit up, the current energy that the divine feminines have is the Hermit, and it's upright. Okay. Because we are, if this is resonating with you, and if you're in the same, wave as I am and going through the things that I am, you're kind of in hermit mode. I've, haven't, it's been almost 5 weeks since I've had a drink of alcohol. It's not been a struggle. I don't miss it. I went out to dinner with my parents Saturday. Didn't I had a guy at the table next to me had wine, and I just got pineapple juice in a wine glass, and I was like, this is good. And I'm not going out. So clearly, it's me not going out isn't an issue as far as, well, I don't want to go out because I don't want to be tempted to drink it. That's not an issue at all. I just really am needing this solitude to myself, and I've been sitting down trying to just grasp all the stuff that's happened. I mean, I've had two past life connections thrown at me, since March, and the one in March was extremely deep, and I couldn't understand. I felt like I was losing my mind. Why I was so attached to this guy. I mean, kid. He's about to turn 23, I think. 22, 23. Yeah, he's about to turn 23. And then, I go to Sedona and I find out the fact that we had, this forbidden love in ancient Egypt, and I was betrothed to someone else, and the guy I had met at the Dallas airport, that was him. And it's like, to and there's that aspect, but then it's like to just sit down and contemplate the childhood ones that are coming up, some of those things that are still subconsciously needing to come out, contemplating all of the just crazy things that have happened here, the shooter living in my building and me not noticing. Like, there's just so much stuff that I've just not really dealt with. Being in hermit mode, there's just different things, like, and I've been decluttering. I've just been focusing on me. And I think that's important too, because as feminines, a lot of times you just want to overgive. Okay. And I don't know, remember if that's a sign of a wounded feminine or wounded masculine. It's one of the two. But again, they're intertwined. But if you overgive to somebody, you overgive your time, you overgive money, resources, food, time, overgive and overextend yourself and don't set boundaries, that's something that has to stop. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's, a family member or somebody who's very close and who does the same things for you, who is, very reciprocal with their love and would give you the shirt off their back. At some point, if you need to go within and face and deal with these things, you have to do that, and you can't feel guilty. This is about, there's a very strong energy coming out right now of taking care of your own stuff. Take care of your home, clean out, your body, clean out your clutter. Just, focus on you and making your energy and your vibration as high as possible. That is the most important thing. Eight of Cups, that's a card about moving on, and it's in reverse. So I think what I'm getting, and it's crossed by the Queen of Swords, and I'm getting that some of you need to move on from these unhealthy cycles and patterns and toxic situations and cut those out, and you're not able to move forward on your path of ascension because you're not taking that action to cut these things away that no longer serve. And some of you, I was just saying earlier that this season is about this upcoming, Sagittarius. There's so much Sagittarius everywhere. The season we're going in, the new moon is in this energy. It's just a very powerful time. And the Queen of Wands is in reverse, which tells me there's maybe somewhere where you're lacking passion, you're lacking confidence, you're maybe not stepping into your power, right? And so I think, again, this energy is going to kind of force that action. And so, some of these things, I think there's realizations that your 10 of Cups, your 2 of Cups, your 4 of Pentacles, your stability, your happy relationship, all of these things, and you yourself, right? You can't. These are all in reverse, by the way. 10 of Cups is in reverse. 4 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, and the High Priestess are all in reverse. So I think there's this calling that's happening right now. And again, we still have a couple more days of Scorpio season. So if you saw my post this morning on the Facebook page, you may that tidal wave, so to speak, some of these things, it's like you're kind of realizing there's suppressed stuff that you need to deal with, that may be coming out. But I know for me, this entire time period, I've just had these realizations where, I have been serving as a guiding light We all are. All the divine feminines are serving as the high priestess, the the light, guiding their masculine home. I mean, it is. It's the females ascend first, and that energy alchemically, I've said this before, triggers changes in the masculine, and they start growing too. And so I think there was this stagnant energy that was happening, and some realizations coming about right now, even, just in the last few days. Like I said, I've kind of just had these like light bulbs go off, and oh yeah, and one exploded, not exploded, but another light bulb blew this morning. So, but anyway, I digress. But a kind of a realization that you weren't where you needed to be on this path where maybe you thought you were. And that's why all these cards are showing up the way they are in reverse. So there's some action that needs to be taken. And you're going to start having the confidence. I think right now we'll maybe tap into this if there's time, but I think the devil was kind of controlling the situation, your ego, and thinking that you were further along than you were, thinking that you didn't really have as much work to do as your masculine, perhaps, or just in general, that you think, well, union's coming around. I've done everything I need to do. I think all these cards showing up in reverse are saying, that you really need to look in the mirror and see where, if your masculine isn't doing X, Y, Z, where is your inner masculine not doing X, Y, Z? Or whichever one it is, whichever aspect of the energy going back and forth. If they're hot and cold with you, or if they're not admitting their love for you, if they're not showing you love, where are you not showing yourself love? If you're engaging in addictive behaviors, if you're not facing your emotions, if you're not saying no, and you're not setting boundaries, and you're not taking time to do the things your soul wants you to do, you're not loving yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, you're not going to get that reflected back to you in reality. So this may sound like it's trying to, get him back or whatever, and that's not what this is about. It's about getting yourself in a place where you're balanced. And then things are just going to fall into place. Once you have your energy in alignment, once you, divine feminines, you work on facing those emotions, facing the things in your life that you need to change, everything is just going to start falling into place. So it's funny because I originally thought I was going to do a divine feminine empowerment reading, and this kind of turned into that, didn't it? I love it. All right, so we're going to do a message. Actually, it's the Ascended Masters. I was really feeling a call towards those. The feminine, we're going to see what message the divine feminine has for the masculine. And again, this could be her own inner masculine energy. This could be her actual physical masculine. It could be both. Okay. So priorities, I think this is important. King Solomon, it's kind of like for you to become a king, talking to the masculine, you've got to find that balance. You've got to really, the things that you're engaging in right now, the people that you're hanging out with, the situations that you're in, are these things that are really important to you and that feed your soul? Because I think, both counterparts are feeling this pull to just cut away things that no longer serve, and to find balance, and to just say, and also, excuses are there. I don't know where this is coming from, but it's kind of like, are you giving, you're making excuses. I think, what it is, I'm getting, okay, the feminines for a long time were making excuses, not making their healing a priority so much, thinking that they had faced all their emotional wounds and all those things. The masculines, I think are kind of at this crossroads where some of them, they're wanting to maybe make their feminine a priority and spend time with them, but there's still just a lot of fears and doubts, and I think just some excuses that are being made as far as they don't have time to spend with, they don't have time for a relationship. And I think that the reason they're saying they don't have time for a relationship is because they don't want to face the feelings they have. And they, therefore, that's going to bring up, it's kind of like this endless cycle, like the feminine side of them, just like the feminine side of us who embody, the feminine gender, weren't facing our repressed feelings, sometimes past life feelings, all of those things coming out. I think the masculines are mirroring in the sense that they don't want to face the feelings they have for their divine feminine. And but I think that the feminine genders, the divine feminines, breaking that cycle and going in hermit mode and working on themselves, I think that's going to create a big shift. And if anything, it's, no matter what it does with this person outside of you, it's going to help you yourself ascend. We also got mother, wife, sister, daughter. So I think this is a call that, the masculines, the feminines want the masculines to know that we're not going to hurt you the way that your mother did, the way that perhaps an ex-lover did. There's this mistrust, I think, that's still there because their view of love is distorted. So I think some of them are maybe trying to balance priorities. Some of them might have children. Again, I just said priorities and I forgot that this was here. Some of the masculines are maybe concerned about that, about how they would balance, a serious relationship with children or family. And I think this is just reassurance from the divine feminine that they realize the situation, and that it's a team effort. And so I think that's the message that they want to say there. And also choose peace. Choose peace. Oh my gosh. Okay. I feel like this entire deck wants to speak to us, you guys. Choose peace. I mean, what was I just saying about look at the situations you're in and try to decide if that's something you really want to be doing. And then we got purification. I was just saying the feminines have heard the call. The feminines have heard the call and they're starting to really, if they haven't done it already, purify their environment, purify their bodies, purify their souls. And I think the masculines pretty soon, it's like they're going to start it's going to click in and they're going to start wanting to do those things as well. Okay, so now that we're 30 minutes in almost, let's look at the masculine energy. We're going to use the Twin Flame Journey Tarot by Mystic Moon. Let's go look at the Divine Masculine now with this. It's very interesting. Okay, we've got a lot of Wands energy, which is interesting because again, it's Saggy season coming up, and Wands are about fire and passion, and so is Sag. So let's see what we've got on with masculines. I think what I was just saying about the feminines taking the action to, recently, since the last cycle, moon cycle, the feminines taking that Queen of Swords action, if they haven't done it, whenever they do it, cutting things away, purifying their bodies, purifying their environment, their home, all of those things I think is going to trigger something pretty quickly in the masculines, because we've got the Queen of Swords here kind of as a supporting energy within the past couple of weeks. And I think maybe even some of them, because the energy is becoming so intertwined, like I said, where I'm identifying with aspects of both, that I'm thinking, too, that I've seen such accelerated growth. Um, like when I saw the, my twin in, it was like almost September. Well, I've seen him since then, but I mean, just one on one. Um, I was astounded by the growth in him. I couldn't believe it. And he was probably about where I was in the spring as far as some of the things that were happening in my life, and like the lessons and the kind of the being in the head and the swords energy and the confusion about, you know, life and that kind of stuff. Um, but, if you look back to the spring where he was versus me, it was like way, 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 and I'm not it's just, he was way, way not even close to being awakened. And the growth I saw from the spring to August. So I think that the energies are really starting to get to the point where it's just like the masculines are going through accelerated processes, and really the parties are really starting to mirror each other. So I think some of it, maybe they are starting to cut away some things that no longer are serving them, but I think also they're being affected by this shift in their counterpart, and for some cases it's pretty dramatic shifts. I mean, in my case, to go from having wine every single day of the week, for pretty much every single day of the week for a long time, to no alcohol for almost 5 weeks. I mean, that's a huge shift, right? So I think that's being felt, those types of changes. Some feminines I'm getting are maybe taking that leap, maybe moving, maybe switching jobs, doing some other things like that. And those are big changes where you had stagnant energy in your connection. Making those kind of shifts, is surely, I mean, it looks like it's affecting them, um, because you've got all this wands in there. You got the Three of Wands. They're awaiting results. I think some of this is, things have been set in motion. I'm getting accelerated motion here. There's still some fears. They're blocked by the Six of Wands, of maybe being afraid they're not successful enough. They're wanting to be more independent. Nine of Pentacles. They're wanting to be more self-made. They're wanting to be more stable, before they come forward. But I think, they're kind of strategizing now and realizing that, some of that was an excuse. What was I just saying earlier? What was the one? The priorities. Was that the card I think that I came up where I said some of it is, I think, an excuse where they're saying they don't have time, they don't have this. It's because they don't want to face these things. And I think they've been and some of them truly, I think, believed it. Like I'm not gonna, I don't have time for this person. I don't want a relationship. It's because they were afraid of facing their feelings. And so there was this deception, not only of their counterpart, but of themselves. But the current energy right now that's coming in, we've got the Knight of Wands, which is the passionate adventure. Now, unfortunately, knights are not stable. Knights are, kind of flaky, especially the Knight of Wands. He's kind of like in, out, boom, see you later. So this could still be some of the ghosting energy, the hot, cold energy that's going on right now. I think that some of you, though, what I'm getting is, I think once Mercury goes direct, I think the masculines, I mean, they're already contemplating it, but I think they're going to kind of have this urge, to reach out and communicate, maybe put down their defenses a little bit. I'm getting kind of some playful vibes, like, that maybe it would be lighthearted, um, friendly, maybe not I'm not seeing, like, not necessarily this group that I'm channeling being ready, for a full-on commitment, but I think there's going to be maybe some ease in, I don't know, ease is the word, gentleness, if there has been tension, there hasn't really been in my situation, but I think some of you, there has been tension in the connection. I think, that could be dissipating a little bit. There could be just a little bit more relaxed energy, as they maybe start to kind of thaw out their defenses, emerge from hibernation. and things are starting to manifest. You know, we've got the Magician here and we've got the Wheel, and the outcome is Page of Wands, which is communication. It's excitement, curiosity, it's sparks. It's something that, again, you've got the Knight here, not a king. But I think, you know, I'm getting that they really are starting to, at least at the urgence, you know, the feminine is like, you know, it's time for you to look at, you know, your priorities and close out these cycles that are keeping you stuck kind of in this childlike energy. You've got the Page of the Knight here. You know, the feminines, again, closing out their habits, their addictions, all of that kind of stuff, I think is going to kind of make the masculines examine where maybe they've been deceiving themselves as far as what they really truly want out of their life. And I'm getting, some of them are kind of tired of feeling like they're I'm getting like a college dorm setting. All right, so let's see what message. We're going to do the twin flame messages. We're going to see what message the masculine has for the feminine. And then we'll just do some general messages, I think, versus the connection energy, because I kind of tied into the connection energy really with the two. The Queen of Swords, I think, tied the two together as far as cutting out things and the mirroring and all of that. But I think communication is coming, I think, for many of you. Once Mercury goes direct between now and the new moon, and then subsequently the full moon, I think November, there's going to be some communication. Not necessarily in-depth communication as far as feelings and those types of things, but maybe just some lightheartedness and flirtation, just some acknowledgments that everything's okay. You know, I think that is coming, like I said, and this is for the new moon, which is next week. Right now, the energy has been, you know, where they've been afraid that it's not going to be successful. They've been holding up their, you know, they've been having their guard up, right? So they have felt safer in the silence, and they have not been able to handle your words right now. And I think that is, oh yeah, I can't handle your words right now. I feel safer in the silence. And I think that's why when they do come forward this next time with some sort of communication, it's going to be kind of childlike. It's going to be kind of immature. It's going to be flirtatious, and fun, but maybe not the depth that you're looking for. But I think for some of you, especially if you've not had some communication, you know, it kind of might just serve as some reassurance that you can see the progress in them. And then maybe some things will be mirrored back to you that, you know, okay, well, they're doing this again, or they're in this situation, so I need to work on X. So I think that's going to be some of the things that come to light there. This is, I didn't mean to pull, see, I keep pulling ones and I don't mean to, but I guess it's because these messages need to come out. Being apart has been life-changing for me. And then the other one was, I need more time to figure things out. So I think they're still kind of processing all of that and trying to figure out what are their priorities, you know, what is it that they want. And I'm going to pull, because I was picking up on the fact that they're, you know, you've got deception and strategy. That to me is, in this spread, the way these came out, is not a card about cheating, and that I think it's they're deceiving themselves, because they're not wanting to face this. As far as the depth of the connection, they had their defenses up, but again, you've got Magician and the Wheel, which is a new beginning and closing out cycles. So this communication will start a new cycle. I think what's going to be important to determine is, it's going to be important to determine how, you know, we're talking about the feminines closing out, you know, toxic cycles, patterns, those types of things. And that certainly can apply to your relationship or friendship or whatever you have going on right now with your twin, or whoever you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, your sacred partner, you know, whatever, soul connection. if they aren't, don't accept crumbs, okay? Um, I've gotten to the point in my situation where I just, I used to be like, anytime I would get a message, I'd be like eager to respond and like, but then it's like, if it's kind of this wishy-washy, flaky stuff, you know, I'm at this point now where, I'm the one that the last couple times I would just drop off the conversation because I'm like, you're taking forever to respond to me, or you're responding 3 days later, like no time passed, and like, you're really like, not upset. I'm thankful that we're in a good place, but like, this isn't what I'm looking for. So I'm at this point where it's like, I'd rather not hear from him at all if that's what I'm going to get. And I'm, trying to balance this, but feeling very, I've seen him, since this happened, and it's been, it is, out, just in his job or whatever, and everything, we're totally fine. We're in a very, very good place. I have my own things I'm focusing on, and I just feel like I have no need to like, chase or talk to him if he's not ready for that. If all you're going to get is crumbs from somebody, I don't care if it's, this person, or if it's a friend, or, don't accept that behavior. Don't you, if you keep engaging in those patterns and just latching on to whatever they're willing to give you when it's not what you ultimately want, you're never going to break the cycle of that. Okay? So it's a hard thing to comprehend, but it's kind of like, we're not, I don't need to talk to you if it's not gonna be this, if it's just gonna be this and that and crumbs or whatever. So that's important to keep in mind too. I think is setting boundaries, even if this is a person you love, and you want, if they're your destined counterpart, or somebody you're just supposed to at least keep learning lessons with for the time being, you can't do anything to mess it up. Everything in this whole, the twists and turns and all those things served a purpose in the connection. So you can't lose them if this is meant to be. So you have to let go of that attachment. If you don't talk to them, if you don't see them for 2 months, if you don't talk to them for weeks, in the 3D, you need to be so busy with your own life, not to the point where you're running like I was doing, where you're running from your emotions, but you need to be so busy with doing fulfilling things that bring you joy, and also working on yourself, not for the like purpose, the purpose of getting back with them. And well, now that I've done this and now that I've done that, maybe I'll hear from him today. Like, no, you can't be in that mindset. You have to just go about it, and just know that when the time is right, if it's not that person that you've been on this path with, you sure as hell are going to attract somebody else, and who's in the same vibration as you. So anyway, I don't mean to rant, but that's just something. It's important. My friend, it was so funny. She's like, you need to stop being a puppy with him. You need to be a cat. And I was like, and I had already come to that conclusion myself. I'm like, why am I responding to this message? Not playing games or anything, but it's like, I'm very busy and I'm in the middle of things. And it's like, I make him a priority, right? Here we talk about priorities. I've always made him a priority. Always. Even if it wasn't convenient for me, taking a half a day off work when I have like no vacation left to spend time with him, I did it. And it's like, I'm not getting the same thing in return. So it's like, I'm going to just pull back and just be like, you know what? You can't mess this up. So it's like, if some time down the road, we're going to get together and it's not convenient for me. If he wants to get together, it's not convenient for me. I'm not going to bend over backwards to make it happen, because if he makes me a priority, I shouldn't be the one having to do all these things, right? So it's about balance, and it's about, it's really showing me the last couple months about, your own time, your own boundaries, being afraid of either upsetting somebody, being afraid of losing somebody, just wanting to just be there and make them a priority when you're maybe not doing that for yourself. And they're not going to make you a priority until you make yourself a priority. So I know it seems counterintuitive to kind of like, it's not playing games, it's not anything like that. It's just about your being respectful of your time and your boundaries. And if you aren't doing that with yourself and giving, they're just, it's an energetic thing. It's probably subconscious. It's not even something they realize they're doing. Speaking of energy,